as fast as you can. Give me your morning routine right now.
My morning routine. I wake up. I poop. I brush my teeth. I put on deodorant. I put on my cologne. I check my hair. I check it because a lot of times I don't style it. I will just check it to see the status. And then I will go in the room and I will lift weights until my arm is tired. And then I will go to work.
That's a good routine.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to this episode this week. This week we're going to kind of do an old school. We took this idea from Rhett and Link. It was actually they did this on their podcast Ear Biscuits a long time ago. We stole this from them. They did one called Summer Jobs, like when they were in high school. You're off for the summer, so you had your summer jobs. We're going to do it a little bit different. We're just going to talk about jobs we had because...
Pretty much right up to college.
Yeah, because we were homeschooled, so there was a few that, we can still do school, but we can work a little bit
part-time. It wasn't not restricted to summer.
Yeah, not full-time, but like just part-time things we did. So I guess we'll start off with my very first job, which was, and we both worked this together, was... We worked over, like, Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We worked at a tree lot. Christmas
tree lot, which was actually pretty fun.
Yes. I was 14 years old.
We got paid in cash.
We did. It was, like, under the table.
Under
shady
the table.
Stuff.
Literally, it was
not shady.
under the table.
But, yeah, under the table, definitely. And I was 14 years old, I remember, because we live in...
That means I was 16.
We're South Carolina, and... I guess legal age is technically 15 to have a job, but I was 14 and I'm like, I'm not 15 yet, but yes,
it was under the table.
Yeah, so it didn't really matter. It was kind of
You're getting in there early.
Kind of like a friend, I guess. He
an acquaintance of a friend.
Acquaintance of family member of a friend is
family member of a friend.
So he had a tree lot, so he needed some workers. So we're like,
he had like 3 different lots. So he would go to the mountains and he would set up 3 different tree lots in 3 different cities around the area. And he'd sell, for the most part, the majority of them and make a crap ton of money.
I remember kind of my overall kind of just experience for that. I guess maybe this wasn't me. I didn't see this weird, but I know all the other workers that were like older, they were like actual adults. They would see me as... I'm young. They're like, how are you still working after all these hours? Like, you're 14. You're not get
physically able to.
Well, not work physically able to, but like to keep my attention and like actually do the job.
You were
like
a young
I'm
kid.
Supposed to.
I mean, your voice had barely just changed.
Well, it wasn't probably. I know that was.
It was in the period.
Probably not even there. It was
still like.
Probably
still high.
So it's like
late blooming.
How are you able to do this job? You're so young, and I'm like, because I'm a real boy.
Because I'm a real boy. I'm a good hard worker boy.
So that was our first job. That was my first job, and that was actually your second job.
It was my second job.
So you can talk about your first job.
Okay, so the first job that I did was for a thrift store, and it was locally where we lived, and I had just turned 15, and so I believe I was talking to them about getting the job.
Actually, now that you talk about it, the person who owned the tree lot was the father of who the owner of the thrift store, like the person who started it. So
that's true.
That's probably how we got in. I know that she was kind of a family friend. So, but
entrepreneur in the small town.
That's how we got the tree lot job.
Yeah.
Because you worked before the tree lot.
So I worked at the thrift store and it probably was for maybe about 4 months or so.
That was probably, I don't know the timeline, but it was probably like you worked the summer at the thrift store, then that
I think it was a
winter.
whole year. Because I was 16 when we did the...
I was 14 when we did the tree lot. So.
And I was 16. And so that means that I worked at the thrift store when I was 15, so that was a whole year after.
Well, not if you worked during the summer and then you became 16.
But I didn't.
Okay, whatever.
I had just turned 15. As I was saying, I was younger and I I had started the process of getting the job when I was like about to turn 15. And so I got the job, and I had just turned 15, and I worked there for about 4 months or so. And what I did was I would like package, I would keep the store tidy for the most part, sections that were I was in charge of, and then I would also take care of a food pantry for a homeless shelter that people would donate stuff to and everything.
Forgot about that.
And so I was the person who was organizing food and organizing pantry, making orders of food in bags and stuff for these different families who were in need and stuff, that the thrift store did it kind of as a ministry thing. So I worked there for about 4 months or so. And then later on, probably about a year later, was when we got the tree lot job, and we were making some real money.
Any embarrassing stories from that, I guess?
I don't know.
I mean,
it comes to mind.
Whenever you're young and you're just a teenager, it's awkward.
Everything's embarrassing. Yeah. And so you just kind of like, oh, okay.
You either just
my whole life is weird.
You're embarrassed.
Yeah. Nothing stands out crazy. If it did, it would probably be the tree lot at some point. That was like embarrassing or funny. Also, at the thrift store, my boss was a woman, and so they, for the most part, treated me like an employee, whereas at the tree lot it was a bunch of old men, and so they treated us like young boys, and so it was a little demeaning, but mostly just them picking on us with certain things and making jokes and stuff. And so the environment was probably more intimidating for the tree lot because we were younger. I wasn't as young as you, but we were younger and working with these old men. And what was interesting is it's like we would work a day and we would be paid cash at the end of the day for what we did. And it was funny. We almost didn't even have a schedule. We honestly would just be like called and be like, "You want to work today?" And be like, "Yeah, gotta go to work now." and we would go and work at a tree lot all day, and then selling trees, showing people trees, but mostly just setting up and carrying trees to people's cars and the actual physical labor. And so trees are freaking hard to carry.
Yeah, and you go home and you smell like Christmas trees.
Exactly. That was actually a pleasant memory because I smelled like Christmas for the entire season of Christmas.
What I remember about that job, the most thing, I remember the guy who I guess who owned the tree lot. He was a really old gentleman, and his driving wasn't the best, and I was terrified of his driving. So I remember we were like driving in like a pickup truck, so 3 seats in the front. It was him driving, Joseph in the middle, and me kind of on the other side. And I would literally just like be like
paralyzed in fear.
Yes, and so like I remember Joseph could tell because I would like start humming like a Christmas tune, and I'd be like trying to act like I'm all jolly. I'm being Christmas,
just Christmas jowl,
but really just like freaking out.
You had a lot of anxiety about transportation vehicles when you were younger.
I mean, it was.
You still have some of that.
Well, it was like
you still have transportation anxiety.
It was for good reason, because remember he got into a wreck like when he went up in the mountains to get the Christmas trees.
He did get in a bad wreck.
They got into a bad wreck.
He was
trying to bring
Christmas
them down.
Trees, and they almost fell down a cliff, I think, but the car stopped. And apparently there was too much weight pushing the truck that they were in. The trailer was pushing on the truck too hard.
And they didn't have good enough brakes.
They couldn't slow down. And his grandson was with him, and they were in a bad wreck. They almost could have died, but they didn't. So, yeah, he was a bad driver. He was a scary driver. I, on the other hand, just thought of it as an adventure where I wasn't really riddled with anxiety about it. I would be like, crap, we're getting close to that curb, or dang, we're just driving on the wrong side of the road.
Well, actually, I think the reason that kind of spawned that was because, our first story time when we talked about when I broke my arm, that wreck that was before this.
You had more physical trauma, and so you were more aware of the ability for the body to be injured.
Into a wreck, so
I still haven't broken a bone, and so I'm very not aware of the physical dangers that I'm constantly in.
I'm going to move on and go to, this is
First, I didn't say something earlier. First of all, carrying a Christmas tree is extremely difficult, as we had said. Once you get that, because they get it delivered to us, or before they cut it down, I think they wrap it all up in that net stuff.
Mhm.
And then when we're displaying them for people to come and be like, I want this one or that one, we'd have to take that net off. And then to deliver it for them again, we'd have to run it through the net again so that they can put it on the top of their car. So it was a process of cutting off the net and then setting it up and then taking it down and putting it through the net again and getting it to the people's cars and stuff. And once it's in the net, it's easy. You can just grab it and just carry it like this. But when it's not in the net,
Mm.
you just like,
Grab wherever.
and you can't drag it
Mm.
because then it messes up the tree. You can't handle it in a way that is going to mess up the tree because people pick the tree out for a specific reason. They're very particular. And so, and if you don't have anybody else to help you, you're like trying to be
We were also,
delicate
like,
with this tree.
Small boys carrying these huge trees. So
So it was difficult, but it was fun. But at the same time, that the trees are not as easy as they seem. Christmas trees. From my memory, it can be a difficult job.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on now. We had a job. I guess it was probably the next summer or the fall, 2 summers.
I think it was literally the next
probably
season.
the next
Because
season.
after the Christmas season, I got this job in the spring,
But-
and then you came on during the summer.
Yeah, before we talk about that, that'll be our last job. I want to talk about a job I had after that was
So there was the Christmas tree as a job, and then you're skipping that one because we'll come
Yeah.
back to it.
I'm kind of grouping two together that I did for a little bit. Worked at the fast food joint Bojangles, and that was not a pleasant. Just a lot of it's not because of which Bojangles I worked. It was just fast food's never really the best job.
Yeah.
You're frying all the time. It's greasy because you're frying chicken. That's what Bojangles serves, and basically everything there is fried. So
And so if it's not a good environment to work in, then the work itself is also not pleasant itself. So there's nothing good about the job.
yeah, that is true. So I had that job, and I have the secret to the chicken that makes it so good.
Oh, you do have the secret to the chicken.
But
It's a secret ingredient. Tell me, you don't work there
I'm just
anymore.
kidding. No, there really isn't any secret ingredient.
Oh.
It's just how it's made. But
Oh, crap.
So-
For real?
yeah, it's just kind of they put like a seasoning on the chicken before they batter it and fry it. Essentially, what it is.
Oh.
That's why Bojangles has that spicy chicken flavor.
Well, I knew that there was a spice underneath the batter
Yeah.
and on top of the actual chicken itself. But I thought there was a secret ingredient.
Well, there might be. It just came in packs. We just had to put it on. We didn't get to know what it was.
Okay.
But the thing was, if you got that on your skin, it would like make a huge rash and it would burn. Like, I don't know what it was. Probably just a lot of hot peppers, like cayenne and stuff. But it would literally put a rash on your skin if you got it on
crap.
you. So I don't know what that does to your insides when you eat it, but
Messes you up.
maybe.
What's your other job that you had?
Yeah, going on from that was I worked as a lifeguard at the YMCA. You know, YMCA. I'm just kidding. But
What was the process of having to get that job?
okay, yeah, getting the job at the Y because you were working at.
I was at a different. I had already finished college.
You had finished college, but you were
And-
working at like a summer camp doing video
Mhm,
stuff at that
yeah.
point. So what I did was, this was right when I graduated high school. I went and they had like over a weekend they had a class. You paid like a couple $100 basically, and they trained you to be a lifeguard. So you got the certificate, you got all the kind of swimming stuff and the medical stuff
Mhm.
involved with it. And you can go, basically once you take this course, you can go anywhere that has lifeguards and you can basically apply and get a job because you have the certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Where I got the job where they had the class because they were looking for people for the summer basically. But what you do is just over a weekend, you have to do like some tests in the water, tests out of the water, things like that. And I mean, it was just knowing how to swim a lot. But we
Yeah.
had swam from Boy Scouts, and I've always been a big swimmer. It definitely helped me to learn how to be a better swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
But I already knew how to swim good, so that was essentially just going out, sun tanning, and in the sun, just working your body, making yourself look good, like your lifeguard, and you don't really do anything, and except for that, and yell at little kids,
I
be
hear
like,
that.
"Don't do that! Don't run!" But I don't remember anything really embarrassing or crazy to do with that, except for maybe like I don't know, maybe like making a fool of myself, just running, maybe slipping and falling on my butt, maybe one time. I don't know. That's not really embarrassing, but um, I know one thing that was a little bit fun with that was there was a time like at night right before we would close that nobody would be in there, but the pool's still open, so we have to be there. The lifeguards would literally just go swimming. They had like slides and stuff.
Mhm.
Nobody's there, so we basically could do whatever we wanted. I mean,
Hey.
if our boss was there, we're like, we can't do this, but if they're not there, then we can basically do anything we want, climb up the slides, do whatever we want. We're just the lifeguards. But that was kind of it for that job. So we'll go
So
to the one
let's-
before that.
Okay, so yeah, this is the job that we worked again together.
Yeah.
And so after the tree lot, I got the job that spring, and then you came on during the summer a few months after I got it. The guy I was working for actually asked me, "Should I hire your brother? Is he a good worker?" And I was like,
What am I going to say?
"Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead and hire him." I thought my brother needs money too. That's honestly what I thought. I didn't really take into consideration your work ethic or anything. I was just like, Joshua needs money. Yeah, you should hire him.
Okay, so what we did for them, it was landscaping.
Personal landscaping.
Yeah, he had like kind of a bigger house, and it was
A lot
actually
of-
the same family that I got on the wreck with the 4-wheelers.
Yeah, a
so
couple episodes ago,
it was
we talked
kind of
about
a
that.
friend. What it was our friend's stepdad basically owned the house, and so we kind of did landscaping for them, cutting grass and all this stuff. And I know 2 experiences that we had basically for that summer. We did a lot of crazy things in the house.
It was, yeah, we did a lot of stuff.
Partly because they would like just say, "You need to cut the grass. We're gonna leave. We're gonna leave you here. Nobody's
cut the
home.
grass."
Just cut the grass."
Because they have a lot of grass.
Yeah.
And so I actually did a lot of the grass cutting. You did a lot of the weed eating.
Yeah. So we'd be like, "Nobody's home. We're finished cutting grass," and we couldn't drive at that. Or we could drive, but we didn't have a car.
Yeah, we didn't have a
So,
car. Our dad would come and pick us up
Yeah, we would have to
on
wait
his way
till
home
our
from work.
dad came home from work to pick us up. So we would finish with the grass, and we have like an hour or so. We're like, "What are we gonna do?" So we would do some crazy things. But two things that I want to bring up is one. He said one day he's like, "We're gonna have this party, so we want to pressure wash the whole our driveway." They had like a driveway to pressure wash, and so we're like, "Okay." We pressure washed most of it, but
Yeah.
we
He had another guy.
pressure washed our names into the driveway. What it was?
Yeah. Okay. He had another guy that was helping us work on stuff. He had a couple people that was working on it, but me and you were like the consistent ones throughout the whole summer. And so we were like, wow, when you pressure wash, if something's really dirty, you can like draw on it and stuff.
Yeah.
So I showed this guy. He was our friend, and I was like, isn't that cool? And then I was like, hey, I gotta go do this other thing I was asked to do. Can you please finish pressure washing the driveway? And he was like, yeah, he's got it. So I'm like, one of my first delegation tasks, I just let him handle it. Well, at the party, because we got invited to the party.
No, it wasn't at the party. It was before the party, but it got cleaned before the party. But the next day we came into work, and
Oh yeah.
the owner of the house, he came to us and he was like, I need to show you guys something. So he took us out to the driveway, and he's like, what is this? It was our names in the driveway because we didn't pressure wash them off.
And our friend didn't do it.
He didn't.
He just left it.
So,
So we took the fall for that.
we did.
Okay, real quick, tell us the other thing that happened, because we need to wrap this up.
Do you want to just leave it there, maybe? And we'll tell it next time if you want to come to the next episode. Leave a little cliffhanger.
Maybe. Do you want to do that?
Yep, let's do that.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Join us in the next episode where we talk about the other thing that happened at these jobs.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see you next week. Go watch Dying of the Leaves. Go buy it.
Yeah.
WiseWorksENT.com.